Heartwarming moment. 8-year-old boy signals police dog, revealing an incredible hidden truth. In a quiet cul-de-sac where every face was familiar, an 8-year-old boy named Sam felt the tension in the air. His dad had just lost his job at the factory down the street, leaving an unsettling silence at home. The weight of bills loomed over their heads, like storm clouds, casting shadows over the otherwise sunny suburb. As he played in the park, the laughter of kids sounded distant and foreign. Instead, all he could think about was his lost kitten, Whiskers, who had run off in a moment of playful mischief. The sun shone brightly that afternoon as Sam searched. He called for Whiskers, his voice quaking with hope and worry. Suddenly, a flash of movement caught his eye. A police dog named Buddy, with a shiny coat and a tail that wagged like it was powered by joy, bounded up to him. "Hey, boy," Sam exclaimed, momentarily forgetting his troubles. Buddy's bright eyes reflected a happiness that felt contagious. Sam knelt down, extending his hand, and Buddy happily sniffed it before playfully nudging him. Laughing through his tears, Sam found himself tossing a stick, and Buddy chased it with all his might. The worry that had sewn itself into Sam's heart began to unravel. They ran and played, an unexpected connection sparking between them, lifting his spirits just a little more than before. In that moment, there was no fear of bills or whispers of unemployment, just a boy and his new friend. But Buddy was more than just a source of comfort. As Sam and Buddy explored the park, Buddy began sniffing intently at the ground, pulling on his leash. The dog's handler noticed and followed, and suddenly, the air filled with tension again. Buddy had uncovered something. Hidden bags filled with stolen goods lodged beneath a bench. Sam's heart raced as he processed what was happening. The park he cherished, where laughter echoed, was entangled in shadows Sam had never known. In the days that followed, the small community buzzed with murmurs. Some praised Sam and Buddy for their discovery, while others whispered doubts. "Just a kid from a struggling family," they said. Sam felt their eyes on him, the weight of judgment heavy on his small shoulders. His dad, once a figure of strength, struggled against his own pride, often retreating to the dark corners of their home where shame hid. Just as Sam began to doubt himself, news spread of a potential rally for justice, igniting a flicker of hope within him. But hope quickly faded as local authorities downplayed Buddy's discoveries. The more he tried to rally support, the more he heard the whispers, cutting him down like weeds. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the community grappled with uncertainty, Sam stood at the center. With Buddy by his side, he clenched his fists, a spark of courage igniting within him. They had the chance to amplify the truth the way only children could, with unyielding strength and unemboldened innocence. Could he transform whispers into a chorus for change? The answers felt out of reach, and yet, standing by Buddy's side, he dared to hope. The following week, the morning air felt electrified. Sam woke up early, the sun creeping in through the window, casting patterns of light and shadow across his room. He could still hear the echoes from the park, the laughter, the joy, the fleeting moment of adventure that had somehow changed everything. But now, as he looked out onto a world that still felt heavy, all he could feel was the burning desire for justice. He had been preparing for the rally. Sam worked hard trying to make signs, using bright colors and big letters so that everyone would notice. With every stroke of the marker, he imagined what it would be like to see the whole community come together. Each sign read hopeful messages: "Truth matters, and we stand together." He felt the words leap off the cardboard, filled with dreams of unity, of respect. Buddy, lying beside him, wagged his tail as if sensing the excitement, or maybe the gravity of it all. Sam turned to his furry friend. "Today is the day, Buddy. We'll show them." As noon approached, they made their way to the park, Sam's heart pounding like a drum. He could see a small crowd gathering, faces he recognized mixed with new ones. Some had signs, some were just watching, but the energy in the air crackled with tension and anticipation. Sam took a deep breath, feeling the familiar anxiety twist in his stomach. Was he really ready to speak out, to stand against the judgments and doubts? The small crowd began to murmur as Sam stepped forward. Children were running around, and parents were leaning and whispering to one another. But Sam's focus was unwavering. He spotted the local news camera nearby, the glint of a lens pointed right at him. This was his moment. As he took center stage, he felt Buddy nudge his leg, giving him a jolt of confidence. The boy swallowed hard and raised his voice, calling out, "Thank you all for coming. My name is Sam, and I want to tell you about what Buddy and I found." A deafening hush fell over the crowd. All eyes were on him. "I know I'm just a kid, but we found something important in this park, bags of stolen goods. It can't be swept under the rug. We deserve better, and this park it deserves to be safe for everyone." His words hit home. Whispers turned into conversations, and conversations blossomed into shouts of agreement. Sam's small figure stood out against this backdrop of adults, yet there was an undeniable weight to his voice. Hope filled the air, spreading over the gathered crowd like sunshine breaking through clouds. Just as he thought he'd reached everyone, a familiar voice shattered through the noise. "He is just a kid. What does he know?" It was a voice from behind. Sam's heart sank as he recognized the owner, a local man known for his harsh opinions. "Yeah. What do you know about real issues, Sam?" An older boy chimed in, attempting to mock him. The laughter that followed stung like a bee. Sam felt his confidence waver, but the warmth of Buddy's body against his leg reignited his courage. "Buddy knows," Sam shouted back, turning to the police dog. "He is brave, just like all of us should be. We can't let fear silence us." The crowd began to shift, murmurs of agreement growing. Sam's heart raced as he recognized the swelling unity around him. Could they really be coming together? The moment hung heavy with potential, but suddenly an unexpected police siren pierced the air, turning heads and breaking the moment. Sam's heart sank again. What were they doing here? Would they support him, or silence him? As the police car pulled up, the tension thickened. Sam held his breath, knowing whatever happened next could change everything. Would he find an ally in law enforcement, or would they remain a barrier to the truth he so desperately sought to shine brightly? With determination pushing him forward, Sam thought, now or never. And in that moment, he was ready to seize it. The police car rolled to a stop, the engine humming like a beating heart that matched Sam's own. The officer stepped out, her uniform crisp and authoritative. She had a kind face, and though Sam was nervous, he could see something in her eyes, a flicker of understanding. "Everything all right here?" she called out, scanning the crowd. Her voice was calm, but it cut through the tension that pulsed in the air. Sam felt a rush of relief mixed with adrenaline. "We found stolen stuff in the park," he shouted, pointing at Buddy as the crowd murmured in surprise. "We can make this place safe, but we need help." The crowd shifted, exchanging glances of curiosity and concern. The officer took a step closer, her attention fully on him. "You're the one who found those bags?" "Yes," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "Buddy and I found them. We can't just ignore it." "Good for you, Sam," she said. "But this is serious. We'll need to investigate." As she spoke, some members of the crowd began to whisper among themselves. Sam could feel the weight of their gazes, wondering if they were turning back to the earlier doubts. The negativity echoed in Sam's mind, and he took a breath, desperately trying to hold on to the spark of courage inside him. In that moment, Buddy stood tall, his tail wagging, as if sensing the importance of the moment. Together, Sam insisted, "We can make a difference. We need to support each other." The crowd seemed to shift again, restless but intrigued. A young mother nearby stepped forward, her brow furrowed with concern. "Sam's right. We can't just turn a blind eye anymore," she said, her voice gaining strength. "You've got guts, kid," a man in the back called out, and a few others started to clap. The sound ignited a wave of applause, each clap reinforcing the unity Sam longed for. The officer smiled, catching on to the shift in the atmosphere. "Let us hear what you have to say, Sam," she encouraged him. "You're starting something important here today." Sam felt the knot in his stomach loosen as people leaned in. Their faces were no longer doubtful. They were hopeful. "I just want a safe place for us all," he said, heart racing but steady. The officer glanced around the crowd, gauging their reactions. "I think we can work together on this. Let us take a closer look and make sure this park is safe," she said, pulling out her notebook. Sam's heart swelled with joy. "Do you mean it?" "Absolutely," she said, pen poised. "I want everyone to feel like their home is safe, and we'll start by clearing this park up." Cheers erupted around him. It was more than Sam had hoped for. Their voices blended into a beautiful chorus, one that whispered of change and hope. He glanced down at Buddy, who seemed to smile back, sharing this victory. But as the jubilant noise echoed around them, an unease crept into Sam's chest. He felt the reality of the situation looming, and the weight of responsibility settling over him again. What if the police didn't follow through? What if they missed something crucial amid all this excitement? Just then, a flash of frustration broke through the celebration. "What if it's too late?" Another voice interjected from the back, someone doubting the change that was finally starting to take shape. Sam turned, facing the voice that threatened to unravel their progress. "It's not too late. We can start now," he shouted back, determination surging through him once more. The crowd hesitated, but they weren't done yet. They had come this far together, and they could see the way forward. Would they stand firm against the doubts, or would they allow fear to tear them apart? "Who asks with me?" Sam called out, his voice rising over the noise. As cheers erupted again, Sam felt a new sense of purpose. But even in this moment of triumph, an invisible thread of uncertainty tangled in the air. Where would this surge of hope lead them next? The crowd's cheers began to fade, replaced by an anxious energy that buzzed through the air. Sam took a deep breath, letting the excitement buoy his spirits. But inside, a storm stirred. What if this was all just for show? What if real change never came? He glanced at Buddy, who was panting happily, completely oblivious to the burden resting on Sam's young shoulders. "All right, everyone, let us get organized," the officer said, her voice slicing through the uncertainty. "I'll need a few volunteers to help. We'll search the park and make sure there is nothing else dangerous lurking around." A wave of hands shot up. Adults chimed in, eager to assist, their faces lit with a new sense of purpose. It amazed Sam to see how quickly things had shifted. The fears that had once paralyzed the community were evaporating, replaced by something tangible, hope. They formed small groups, each one setting off with flashlights and a sense of collective responsibility. Sam found himself being joined by the young mother who had spoken up earlier, along with a few teenagers and a couple of nervous fathers. They all looked to him for direction. "Let us check out that large bush over there," Sam suggested, pointing to a dark patch that loomed at the edge of the park. The others followed, and as they approached, he felt the weight of their trust. It wrapped around him like Buddy's warm fur. They wanted to believe in him. He couldn't let them down. As they began to rummage through the brush, Sam felt a flutter of apprehension. "What if we find something bad?" he whispered, half to himself. "We'll handle it together," the young mother assured him, kneeling beside him. She reached out to place a hand on his shoulder. "You're doing great, Sam. Look at the difference you've made already." Her encouragement ignited a spark in him. They were a team now, fighting for their community, just like he had always wanted. But what was lurking in the shadows? Sam's thoughts raced as they sifted through leaves and twigs, hoping to find nothing but reassurance. Suddenly, Buddy began to bark, darting into a nearby thicket. Sam's heart raced as he called out, "Buddy, come back." The dog was relentless, and the concern in Sam's chest turned to anxiety as he quickly followed. He pushed through the branches and found Buddy standing over something, an old duffel bag, torn and dirty. "Is that? What is it, Buddy?" Sam crouched down, heart pounding in his ears, as he reached for the bag. The world around him faded away. He unzipped it carefully, the metallic sound sharp in the quiet park. Inside, he saw more items similar to what they had found before: clothes, but also something glinting under the autumn sun. Sam gasped. "There's jewelry. And is that a phone?" The group gathered around him, their eyes wide with disbelief. The mother leaned closer, her voice catching. "Oh my, that looks like it could be valuable." "Or evidence," the officer noted, appearing suddenly behind them, eyes narrowing on the contents. "We'll need to examine this properly." "Good job, Sam." Sam felt a rush of pride, but it was overshadowed by a nagging worry. Who had left this here? What did it all mean? "Is this a clue?" he murmured, glancing at the officer. Her face was serious as she examined the items. "Looks like it could be. But we'll need to figure out what this all means." As the crowd buzzed with speculation, Sam felt that dread return. Had they stumbled onto something darker than he had envisioned? And what if this was just the beginning of something he couldn't control? The officer's voice rang out again, breaking his thoughts. "Let us head back to the station with this, and take a deeper look. Stay close, everyone. We're just getting started." Sam's pulse raced. Just when he thought change was on the horizon, a new mystery had emerged. What lay beneath the surface of their newfound hope? He turned to Buddy, and the dog seemed to understand that another adventure awaited them. As uncertainty lingered, one question rose to the surface of Sam's mind. What else could they uncover together? As the group made their way back to the station, the atmosphere was electric with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Sam walked alongside the officer, glancing frequently at the duffel bag clutched in her hands. "What do you think it all means?" he ventured, his voice barely above a whisper. The officer shared a thoughtful look with him, her brow furrowed. "We'll have to dig deeper. Sometimes, the tiniest clues can lead to bigger revelations." The thought made Sam's heart race. Was he really part of something important? Buddy trotted beside him, a ball of energy that kept him grounded. Sam reached down to ruffle Buddy's fur, seeking reassurance in the familiar warmth. When they reached the police station, the officer ushered the group inside. A handful of officers were swarming around desks, their phones ringing, papers rustling. The buzz of the station was comforting in its own way. It felt like a busy hive, filled with people who were dedicated to keeping their communities safe. "Everyone, gather around," the officer called, drawing a circle of curious faces. "I want to introduce you to some colleagues who specialize in evidence. They'll help us sort through what we've found." Sam's mind raced, picturing police officers in dark jackets, wearing serious expressions. What would they find? Was this bag the key to uncovering something bigger? The mother from before stood next to him, holding her daughter tightly. He could feel her anxiety radiating. "Do you think we'll find something dangerous?" the girl asked, her wide eyes glistening in the fluorescent lights. "I don't know," Sam answered honestly, mirroring the uncertainty that had settled in his gut. But we'll face it together. The officers brought out the contents of the duffel bag, spreading them out on a table. Jewelry sparkled against the stark backdrop of the metal surface, making an odd contrast with the dirt-caked clothing. The officers examined each item meticulously, their expressions serious as they discussed possibilities. Suddenly, one of them paused at the phone and handed it to another. "Let us see if we can recover any data," he said, already pulling out tools to work on it. Sam felt a knot tighten in his stomach. What if it belonged to someone bad? He wondered aloud, the reality of what could be at stake sinking in. The young mother knelt down next to Sam. "Sometimes, things aren't what they seem," she said softly. "People make mistakes, but that doesn't always define who they are." Her words were comforting yet haunting. Sam found himself contemplating what that could mean for the people who might really need help. What if they'd been in bad situations, and this was their chance to turn things around? As the officers worked on the phone, a mix of hopeful and anxious glances passed through the group. It was a moment of shared weight together. They were uncovering secrets that might change everything. Then, the officer who had taken the phone suddenly straightened. "Guys, you need to see this." Everyone crowded closer, their breaths hitching in anticipation. Sam's heart pounded as the officer began scrolling through. "This is a text message. It looks like it might belong to someone in trouble." A chill ran down Sam's spine. What trouble? Who needed help? The answer seemed to hang in the air, just out of reach. "Stay alert." The officer glanced at the group. "We may be facing more than we bargained for." As Sam locked eyes with Buddy, he could feel the weight of the moment pressing in. What lay ahead was murky and unknown, but something deep within him roared for clarity, longing to piece the puzzle together. What would their next steps be? Who would they find tangled in this web of uncertainty? The adventure had only just begun, and Sam could hardly contain his wish to dive deeper into the mystery ahead. The room felt tense as the officer continued to scroll through the messages on the phone. Sam could see the other officers leaning in closer, their faces taut with focus. The excitement was almost palpable, mingling with unease. What were they about to uncover? "Look at this," the officer said, his voice steadier than before. He turned the phone towards the group. "This text was sent about an hour ago. It says, if you don't have the money by tomorrow, it's over." Gasps erupted from the crowd. Sam could feel his heart race. "Who does that belong to?" he asked, his voice cracking slightly. The officer shook his head, scrolling further. "We don't know yet. But it sounds serious." The young mother's grip on her daughter tightened, the girl looking up with frightened eyes. Sam wished he could offer comfort, but he felt lost too. What danger loomed nearby? It felt too real, too close to home. "Everyone, let us keep this calm," said the officer, standing tall. "We need to investigate further. This might be someone's cry for help." Sam watched the officer start to piece together the scattered elements before them: a necklace, a ring, and the ominous phone. Each item held stories and secrets. What kind of life had they come from? "Hey, Sam." The officer beckoned him closer. "Come take a look at this jewelry. Do you recognize any of it?" Sam approached hesitantly. The glittering object seemed so out of place with the message they'd just seen. He leaned in, trying to recall places he'd seen similar items. "Maybe I think I've seen that ring at the old pawn shop downtown," he stammered. "My mom took me there once." The officer's eyes lit up. That could be a lead. "We should check it out." Suddenly, Buddy, sensing Sam's rising anxiety, nudged his leg, breaking the moment's tension. Sam smiled down at him, grateful for the dog's unwavering support. "You're right, Buddy. We have to do this together." The officer turned to the group. "Sam's right. We have to face whatever comes our way. But we can't do it without teamwork. So let us split up into pairs. We'll search for the owner of that jewelry and see if the pawn shop has any information. As the group shuffled into pairs, Sam felt a surge of determination. He wanted to help. He wanted to do something meaningful. I'll go with the officer, he said impulsively. The young mother smiled softly. You're brave. Just remember to look out for each other. The officer ruffled Sam's hair, an encouraging gesture. You've got a good heart, kid. They headed out, Buddy leading the way, his nose to the ground, sniffing for clues. Sam felt both excited and anxious about what they might discover. What kind of help could they offer? Who would they meet along the way? As they walked toward the pawn shop, Sam's mind raced with possibilities. The girl from earlier popped into his head. Do you think she'll be okay? He asked the officer suddenly. Whatever is happening, we'll do our best to get her and anyone else in danger the help they need, the officer promised, squeezing Sam's shoulder reassuringly. The pawn shop loomed ahead, its windows dusty, a heavy air of mystery surrounding it. Sam's stomach twisted with anticipation. What secrets lay inside? As they stepped through the door, the clattering sound echoed into the dimly lit shop, and Sam felt a shiver of expectation. Would they find answers, or would this lead them to something darker than they imagined? The hunt had begun, and vitality coursed through Sam's veins. But one question remained in the air, unspoken yet palpable. Who was truly waiting on the other side of this tangled web? The shop smelled of dust and memories, each corner holding echoes of forgotten stories. As Buddy sniffed around eagerly, Sam's heart pounded in his chest. He glanced at the officer, whose eyes scanned the room, taking in the cluttered displays of jewelry, old electronics, and stacks of boxes. Let us start by asking the owner, the officer suggested, motioning toward a small counter tucked in the back. A middle-aged man with thinning hair looked up, his face creased with curiosity. Can I help you? The man asked, his voice a blend of surprise and caution. Yeah, we're looking for information on a ring and some jewelry that might have been brought in recently, the officer replied. Do you recognize this? He held out the phone, its screen illuminated with the photos of the items they'd uncovered. The man furrowed his brow, leaning closer. I see that ring. Someone brought it in a couple of days ago. Said they were in a tight spot financially. His voice dropped, almost conspiratorial. They had a look about them, like they were desperate. Sam swallowed hard. Do you know who they were? Not exactly, the shop owner said, eyeing Sam and the officer carefully. But they mentioned needing the money fast. I get a lot of folks like that, you know? Life can be rough. But didn't he get a name? Sam's disappointment flickered, but determination surged again. Do you know where they went after they sold it? Not really, but they said something about needing to leave town. I can't say for sure, but the way they were acting it didn't seem right. Sam felt the weight of those words. This wasn't just about jewelry. It was about people, lives woven together by desperate choices. Did they leave any contact info? The officer pressed, his demeanor sharp with urgency. The shop owner shook his head. Nothing, I'm afraid. Just your typical transaction. Small-town desperation doesn't leave many traces. Sam's mind raced. He wondered if the person who sold the ring was in real trouble. The girl, the young mother, could they be connected? He felt a pang of worry. What if the person in danger needed him to act? Buddy, having lost interest in the counter, wandered toward a dusty shelf. He started nosing around a small velvet bag that teetered precariously off the edge. Sam turned just in time to see Buddy tugging the bag with his mouth. "Buddy, drop it!" he shouted instinctively. But it was too late. The bag slipped from the shelf and landed on the floor, its contents spilling out in a shimmer of metal and stones. A gold locket rolled toward Sam's feet, catching the light just so. His breath hitched. "Wait, what is that?" Sam knelt, reaching for the locket. Something inside him flickered at the sight of its intricate design. He opened it cautiously to find a faded photograph of a smiling woman cradling a small child. The child looked familiar, and a sense of unease washed over him. Is that the officer began moving closer? Could it belong to the mother we saw earlier? Sam's heart raced. "I think it might be." His eyes darted back to the shop owner. "Do you know where she might be? What if she's in trouble too?" The officer glanced at the locket and back to Sam, a fiery determination igniting in his gaze. "Let us find out. This could be the key we need." As they gathered what little clues they had, the unease of the moment settled in. The simple journey had become a complicated web of connections and secrets. Sam could feel it deep in his bones. The more they uncovered, the more tangled things would become. But he also felt a flicker of hope. They were on the right track, and he wasn't about to give up. It was about more than just the ring or the locket. It was about saving someone and possibly understanding how far people would go to protect those they love. With a new sense of purpose, they set off again, Buddy leading the way. But amidst all this, one question loomed heavily. What would they find when they traced the threads of these lives back together? The streets were alive with the faint hum of traffic and the distant laughter of children playing. Sam felt the locket's cool metal clasped tightly in his palm while he walked beside the officer. The weight of that small piece of jewelry grew heavier with each step, carrying not only the image of the woman and child but also an urgency that pushed him forward. "Where do we even start?" Sam asked, glancing up at the officer, who was scanning the street like it held secrets waiting to be uncovered. "Well, if the seller mentioned needing to leave town, let us talk to some of the local businesses," the officer replied, his eyes narrowing in determination. They might have seen who it was. As they moved down the sidewalk, Sam's mind raced. He thought about the woman, the young mother they had seen at the pawn shop. Had she sold that ring in desperation? Did she need help? With every beat of his heart, Sam couldn't shake the feeling that they were running against the clock. "Buddy, come on!" he called out as his dog paused to sniff some grass. The dog quickly complied, tail wagging feverishly, as though he understood the urgency of the moment. They approached a small cafe, its awning stretched out like an invitation. People filled the outdoor tables, chatting and sipping their coffee, oblivious to the storm of thoughts swirling in Sam's mind. "Let us check in there," the officer said, leading the way. The bell above the door jingled as they entered. The cozy space was filled with the rich smell of coffee and freshly baked pastries, creating a stark contrast to the tension building within Sam. He spotted an older woman behind the counter and approached her. "Ma'am," the officer began, "we're looking for information about a woman who may have recently sold some jewelry at the pawn shop." The woman looked up, wiping flour from her hands onto her apron. "Oh, you mean that young mother? She came in just a few days ago, looking a bit frazzled. I remember because I offered her a coffee on the house. She looked like she needed it. Do you remember anything else?" Sam interjected, hope flooding his voice. The woman thought for a moment. "She mentioned something about needing to catch a bus. I didn't get the details, but she seemed in a rush. I just assumed she was going on a trip." "Which bus station?" the officer asked, sensing they were narrowing in on something significant. "Just up the road," the woman answered, pointing. "It's not far from here." They wasted no time. Sam and the officer hurried back outside, Buddy leading them forward as if sensing the urgency radiating from both men. "It feels like we're getting close," Sam said, looking down at Buddy, who gave an encouraging bark. They reached the intersection when suddenly a loud cry broke the air. "Hey, wait!" a small voice yelled from behind them. Sam turned to see an 8-year-old boy, his eyes wide with excitement, waving frantically. "Your dog. He is so cool." The officer knelt down, motioning for the boy to approach. "What is your name, buddy?" "Lucas." The boy beamed, looking at Buddy with awe. "I saw you two at the shop. Is that your dog? Can he do tricks?" Before the officer could respond, Sam noticed Lucas's expression shift. "Wait a minute. I think I saw that lady you're looking for." Sam's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" he pressed. "She was talking to a man at the bus station." "They seemed really worried," Lucas said, glancing nervously at the officer. "I think she might be needed help." Sam exchanged a look with the officer, their urgency morphing into something palpable, a shared understanding of the potential danger ahead. "Can you show us where?" "Yeah. Come on," Lucas replied, taking off toward the bus station, leaving Buddy trotting excitedly by his side. As they raced after them, Sam couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental. He felt every beat of his heart push him toward a truth that might change everything. What would they uncover when they reached that station? Would they find the young mother, or was it already too late? He could only hope they were not. Too late. The three of them dashed down the sidewalk, the sound of their hurried footsteps blending into the ambient noise of the city. Lucas led the way with the confidence only a child could muster, his small legs carrying him quickly. Sam felt a surge of gratitude toward the boy. He was their unexpected beacon of hope. The officer trotted alongside Sam, their gazes fixed on the distant bus station coming into view. As they neared the station, a knot of anxiety twisted in Sam's stomach. "What if she has already gone?" he murmured, his voice barely rising above the noise of the world around them. "Stay positive," the officer replied, his voice steady. "We've got a chance, thanks to Lucas." Lucas turned to them, his brow furrowed slightly, as if sensing the gravity of their quest. "I saw her really clearly," he said, trying to reassure them, "and she looked scared, like she needed help." The bus station loomed ahead, a chaotic swirl of travelers, buses, and ringing announcements. It felt overwhelming, but they had to push through. Sam's heart raced as they stepped closer to the entrance. "Remember, we're looking for a woman, a mother," the officer instructed Lucas, who nodded fervently, his determination shining through. Once inside, the noise enveloped them. The scent of greasy food mingled with the sharpness of disinfectant, like the place struggled to maintain a sense of cleanliness amidst the chaos. The officer quickly approached the information desk, while Sam kept a watchful eye on Lucas, who bounded toward a nearby group of people, his little hand waving in excitement as he tried to remember. "Excuse me, ma'am," the officer said to the clerk, "we need information about a young mother who was seen around here, looking distressed." "Sure," she replied, her voice calm, the experience of dealing with travelers evident in her demeanor. "Can you give me a description?" While the officer spoke with her, Sam scanned the area. People rushed about, oblivious to their desperate search. His eyes darted around, searching faces for a glimmer of recognition, a glimpse of the woman they sought. Then suddenly Lucas gasped. He pointed to a woman sitting alone on a bench at the far side of the station. "There! That's her!" he shouted, causing heads to turn. Sam's breath caught in his throat. He strained to see through the crowd. The woman had her head down, cradling something in her hands. Did she look up? Did she sense their searching gaze? "Lucas, stay here," the officer said as he started moving towards the bench, Sam following closely behind. As they neared, the woman began to look up. It was her! Sam recognized her instantly. But fear clung to her expression, as palpable as the tension that hung in the air. "Ma'am!" the officer called as he approached, trying to temper his urgency. "Are you okay? We're here to help." The woman's eyes widened in surprise, then quickly filled with tears. "I need help," she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper, trembling like a leaf caught in a strong wind. The crowd blurred around him as Sam stepped closer, his heart pounding in his chest. At that moment, the world outside faded into nothing. It was just them, the officer, the woman, and the truth that could change everything. "Tell us everything," Sam urged, hoping this was the moment they would finally understand what was happening. But just as she opened her mouth to speak, a loud voice boomed through the station. "Hey! You?" Sam's heart sank as he turned, feeling the dread wash over him. Who was this new figure in the unfolding drama? What did they want, and could it spell disaster for the woman they had fought so hard to help? As the voice echoed in the air, Sam knew they were caught in a whirlwind, and the stakes had risen higher than ever. An imposing figure strode toward them, a large man with a sharp scowl etched across his face. He wore a leather jacket, his muscles visibly tense under the fabric. The mystery felt thick in the air, swirling around the growing crowd. "Get away from her," he barked, pointing a finger directly at the officer, threatening and aggressive. A hush fell over the bus station, all eyes turning toward this sudden confrontation. Sam's heart raced as he instinctively stepped in front of the woman, aware that in that moment, he had become her shield. "You can't take her," he shouted, his small voice echoing in the tense silence. "Sam, get back," the officer commanded, moving to position himself protectively between the man and the woman. But Sam had made up his mind. Was he going to let fear dictate his actions now? "You have to listen," Sam shouted, his words brimming with raw authenticity. "She needs help. She is scared." The man's glare shifted to Sam, his expression momentarily confused. "Just move, kid. This doesn't concern you." But Sam stood tall, fueled by the courage he had mustered over the past few days. "Yes, it does. It concerns all of us. If you hurt her, or anyone else, we will not let that happen." The officer's commanding presence ground through the escalating tension. "I suggest you leave this woman alone," he said with a steely voice. The crowd remained silent, each bystander recognizing the gravity of the moment. Lucas clutched Sam's leg, fear pooling in his bright eyes, while Buddy sat next to them, a steady figure. Sam felt the warmth of their silent support. As fear washed over him, purpose surged in. If they didn't act now, they'd lose their chance. Without breaking eye contact, the officer moved to take a step toward the man. "This is a police matter now." "Police?" the man scoffed, stepping forward threateningly. "You think you can just take her away? You don't know what is going on here." "No, but we want to," Sam interjected, shaking with determination. "Please let her speak. We're her friends." Everyone held their breath. Time froze. The woman looked up, her eyes teary yet resolute. She began, her voice shaking, the weight of the world resting on her shoulders. She looked at Sam and the officer, as if drawing strength from them. "I need to leave town. I'm trying to protect my son from dangerous people who want to hurt me." A collective gasp echoed through the crowd. Shock and empathy shattered their silence. The man shifted, uncertainty flickering across his face. The officer recognized the moment. "We can help you," he offered, a calmness radiating from him. "We can keep both of you safe. But you must let us know everything." The man froze, fear gripping him more than rage, as he took a step back. Perhaps he was realizing that the crowd wasn't simply passive bystanders anymore. They were allies now, and it changed everything. He stammered, looking toward the woman. "You think you're safe?" "Yes," she replied with newfound strength. "With them, I am." Encouraged by this newfound strength, Sam seized the moment. "If you care about what happens to her, you have to back off now. We can do this together." The man's bravado faltered, the crowd's looming presence cutting him down like light through a shadow. After a tense pause, he turned on his heel and retreated into the bustling crowd, muttering under his breath as he disappeared into the chaos of the bus station. A wave of relief washed over Sam as the weight lifted from his shoulders, but it didn't diminish the seriousness of their situation. The officer turned to the woman, concern etched on his face. "We're here for you now. Let us get you and your son out of harm's way." As more officers arrived, the crowd buzzed with fragments of conversation. Expressions ranged from awe to admiration at Sam's bravery. "You're amazing, kid." One of the teen volunteers grinned, while Buddy seemed to bounce on his paws, joining in on the celebration. Thank you all," the woman murmured, choking back her tears as she took a step closer to Sam, who now felt a warmth radiating from the support they had. Galvanized. "You saved me, and I don't even know how to repay you." "Just be safe," Sam replied. "That is all that matters. We're in this together." As the police escorted her away, the tension began to dissipate. Sam sensed the community's sense of unity, strengthening a family forged in resolve and care much greater than mere individuals. Each person there understood now that they could face any storm together. Sam looked at Buddy, who nestled close, his warm body a calming presence. "We did it, Buddy," he whispered, grinning ear to ear, his heart full. "We made a difference." All the weightiness of worry that had clung to him for weeks faded like mist under the sun. He had faced fear, embraced vulnerability, and discovered that their hearts could stir change. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, casting a golden hue over the bus station, Sam knew their journey wasn't over. It was just beginning. And with that knowledge came the exhilarating promise of hope. If you felt the power of this story, this is your moment to step up. Subscribe immediately, so you don't miss more exclusive stories that inspire real change. Hit that like button now to fuel our journey forward. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about Sam's courageous stand. And most importantly, share this instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support. True fans like you understand the impact we can have together.